Welcome, dear students. This is our subject, Contemporary Philippine Arts from the Regions. The first lesson is the definition of art. It is important for us to define what is art so that we can understand what is contemporary art. The first definition of art is based on the etymological background of the word art. It is derived from the Latin word ars, which means skill or craft. The next word is artem, A-R-T-E-M, which means skill that is usually refers to the quality of what is beautiful or of great importance. And actually, artem came from two words, which is arte, A-R-T-E, or which mean by skill, and factum, to make. And according to Oxford Languages, art is expression of human creative skill and imagination producing works to be appreciated for their beauty or aesthetic and emotional power. So, art also always begins with the imagination of the artist, and the reason why there is art, it is intended to be appreciated. Why? Because art may have aesthetic value or emotional impact to the audience or to everyone who will be seeing the artwork. Next is that art, at doing a specified thing, it is typically one acquired through practice. So it is really important to practice our skill in art so that it will be improved and developed with our practice. Followed by art in its broadest sense is a form of communication. Do you know that with the use of art, we can communicate with other people, we can rely our insight, we can share our feelings, our intention, we can tell them a story through our art. That is a definition from Lexico. The next lesson is the timeline of Philippine art. Why do we need to study the timeline? Because art plays a significant part in our rich cultural identity of the Philippines. It also mirrors the Filipino people, its history, tradition in our country. Art forms in different parts of the archipelago, when integrated, will give us a clear picture of what kind of country the Philippines is and what kind of people the Filipinos are. That is the reason why we are going to study the timeline of Philippine arts, as well as we can trace how our art progresses as time goes by with the history. The first era of the Philippine art is the pre-conquest or ethnic art. In historical term, we refer to art before the coming of the first colonizers as pre-conquest, while in stylistic term, we refer it to as indigenous to emphasize that the idea that our ancestors have been making art even before the colonizer came. The characteristic of ethnic art, it is integral to life, which means that art for ritual purposes or for everyday use. Art local communities become established. Art starts to go beyond mere craft. For example, stone weapon, jewelry, but they also start to have decorative elements, meaning, and context. The next period of the Philippine art is the Islamic art. It was in the arrival of Sayyid Abu Bakr of Arabia in the 15th century that led to a significant turn of events. He married Princess Piramisuli, daughter of Rahabaginda, and when his father-in-law died, Abu Bakr succeeded the throne and established the Sultanate of Sulu. Abu Bakr was recognized for building religious school, also known as madrasa, that facilitated in teaching Arabic writing in the 16th century. Also, it is with introducing holy texts via the Holy Book of Quran that house of prayer or mosque are being established during the Islamic art. And the distinctive characteristic of the Islamic art is the geometric design. The next era of the Philippine art is the Spanish era during 1521 to 1898. The characteristic of the Spanish art is faith and catechism. When the Spaniards arrived in the Philippines in the year of 1521, the colonizers used art as a tool to propagate the Catholic faith through beautiful images. And because of communication as a problem, the priors used image to explain concepts behind Catholicism and to tell the stories of life of Christ and Passion. And while the South remaining resistant to the Spanish colonization, the colonizers gained inroads in the central part of the island, whose inhabitants we now refer to as lowland Christian. Art that flourished during the Spanish colonial period conformed to the demands of the church and the colonial state. Religious orders were dispatched to convert natives to Catholic as a part of larger project of communication. The art forms that the period are referred to as stylistically or culturally as religious art or art of the folk art. During the Spaniards' colonization, here are some of the Filipinos who made significant contribution to Philippine art. One is Damian Domingo, also known as Damian Gabor Domingo. He is the father of Filipino painting. Why? Because he is the first Filipino to paint his face, the first self-portrait in the Philippines. And also, he is the founder of the Academia de Dibujo y Pintura, the first school of drawing in the Philippines. Also, Damian Domingo is the father of Filipino painting, and he is known as the first great Filipino painter. He established the Academia de Dibujo y Pintura School in 1821. When the Spaniards was being dethroned in the Philippines, American came. And according to the American, Filipinos cannot establish a stable government. That is why we have the Commonwealth government. With the coming of the Americans, Filipino playwrights who had just been undergone the Philippine Revolution of 1898 against the Spain now find themselves confronted by the censorship with the insurance of sedition law, which banned the writing, printing, and publication of materials, advocating Philippine independence and engaging in activities which championed this cause. Plays such as Juan Abad Santos' Tanikalang Ginto, or in English, Golden Chain, 1902, Juan Matapang Cruz, Hindi Ako Patay, or I Am Not Dead, 1903, and Aurelio Tolentino, Kahapon, Ngayon at Bukas, or in English, Yesterday, Today, and Tomorrow, echoed not only the nationalistic sentiments of the playwrights, but also served as a medium for political protest, openly attacking the Americans, now known as drama simbolico. This one play came to represent the deep and profound yearning for freedom. And also, the distinctive features during the American period is that they set out to conquer the Filipino through education and governance, the public school system, and a system of government. The Filipinos who made significant contribution with the art during the American are the following. Number one is Fabian de la Rosa, was the first painter of note for the 20th century. He was noted for his realistic portraits, genre, and landscape in subdued colors. He was enrolled at the Escuela de Bellas Artes y Dibujo and took lessons from Lorenzo Guerrero, followed by Miguel Zaragoza, known for his pointillistic work in 1890s, and Juan Arellano, known as an architect, but his impressionistic landscape are impressive as his buildings. Also, in the American period, Carlos Botong Francisco, a national artist and Angono-based painter, depicted Philippine history and his History of Manila mural at the Manila City Hall. I will not discuss further Botong Francisco because we will discuss him in the national artist topic. The next period of the Philippine art is the Japanese era, 1941 to 1945. The characteristic of Japanese art is orientalizing. Orientalizing because when the Spaniards and the American came, those are areas of the Occidental or Western, while Japanese is in the East Asia. That is why the characteristic of the Japanese art is orientalizing. The distinctive features is that the Filipino lost their freedom of speech and expression. The development of art was also stopped, and the Japanese imposed their own music on the country. And in fact, Japanese music was heard daily in the radio broadcast. Their songs were also taught in public school. The contribution of Japanese art in literature is haiku and tanaka. The next period of the Philippine art is the modern era or modern art, 1960 to 1969. The characteristic of modern art is national identity because during this time, writers and artists posed the question of national identity as the main theme of various art forms. Modern art is characterized by artists' intent to portray a subject as it exists in the world, according to his or her unique perspective, and by a rejection of accepted and traditional values and styles. And finally, the art that is with our present day is what we call to as contemporary era or contemporary art. It is 1970 up to the present 21st century. So, it means that all art that is being produced by the artist today can be considered as contemporary art. Because contemporary art, compared to modern art is called as traditional art, while contemporary is the art of today, produced by artists who are living in our time. It provides opportunities to reflect on social and the issues that are important to us and the world. That is why the characteristic of contemporary art is social realism, because it mirrors contemporary culture and society, offering the general audiences a rich resource through which to consider the current ideas and rethink familiarity. Thank you, my dear students, for listening with this video lesson. I hope that you learned what is art and the timeline of Philippine art. If you have questions and concern, kindly message me in the designated platform and in our schedule. Do your best in answering the module, the independent activity, and independent assessment. Stay safe and God bless you all. Thank you.